Hello, everybody. Good morning still. Here in the land of Virginia, which is still part of a free country, I think. Kind of confused about it right now. Dealing with, I want to say, bureaucracy in general. When you've had a concealed carry permit and you do everything by the law and you know that you can defend yourself against foreign and domestic enemies and do it within the confines of the law, so you are not going to be targeted as a subversive or a criminal in general. I take pride in that. And then when I renew my license that was one day expired, they take 45 days to issue my new permit back so that I can buy weapons and do reviews about them when I want to, without much, I want to say, interference from government, other than we're all aware that when you have a background check and they do all these checks on you and it's for a purchase, you cannot tell me they don't have some kind of back of the rack registry tracking individuals and saying, why is this lady all of a sudden buying guns left and right? They would hone in on her and wonder if she's a straw purchaser for selling guns to probably boyfriends, to probably family members, to other hoodlums on the street, perhaps. And I say that as an example, but the biggest example I try to steer people away from, because it's tyranny regardless, is the average white male that purchases, a gun every week, and he's got many guns, and there's something wrong with him. It's like, no, it's a hobby, okay? It's a collection. It's collecting antiques. It's collecting history. It's researching the history. It's doing an expose about the history of that weapon and talking about all its functions and what it's there for, what it was intended for, historically speaking. And with that, you gain a lot of knowledge. I can only imagine a very septic world, which is anti-God, and it is not godly, where in the future, man themselves cannot determine what weapon they choose to defend themselves, whether it's concealed or not. The intent is for self-defense. The intent is not to harm other people otherwise, or commit crime with it, or do something detrimental to society. As a Christian, I know community is ingrained also. We start at a family level with God first, and then community follows after that, if you want to include government in there. And so I think of the past, I want to say now, over 3 weeks, waiting for the opportunity to purchase weapons when I so choose. I am disheartened by Virginia and their kind of callous outlook. My local constabulary and court system, the lady is not helpful. I've never been so besmeared before without the exception of actually being sued for something I did not do. And I had more help where I felt like a foreigner in a foreign land in Culpeper, Virginia, who were very helpful, very professional, and they made sure I got my carried concealed permit as soon as possible before 14 days was up, sent in the mail. That being said, here in Virginia, I contacted the Republican Party locally, and I spoke with a gentleman named Tim, and we are going to set agendas and policies to get out the word before April 21st about the fair elections and what have you. And the title is so wrong and so misleading. It's to take over all of Virginia by electorate in the districts, so that there are 11 to 1. I repeat, that is not a misnomer. That is not a misspoken word. 11 to 1 Democrat representation in our United States Congress to 1 Republican. In what they say by voting is a 50-50 state. Actually, if you go by precinct, Virginia is 80% Democrat. Okay? Let me restate that again. If you go by actual vote, you would say it's 50-50 Democrat and Republican in Virginia. It is not. Virginia is 80% Democrat. Conservatives, Christians mostly, okay? And other religions that are welcome, that are conservative in nature and believe in the family first. And some family autonomy to raise our children as we choose, within reason, that is not harming them, like transgenderism is. Promoting that and saying a child can be anything they want, anything they believe they are, in a delusion. Okay? In a delusion. They are hallucinating inside their mind who they think they are. And they will cut up their genitalia and maim themselves because parents and teachers and counselors in that school and police and the judicial system will say, yeah, you have a right to do that. When you are not even developed yet in your brain, and your brain is going to start developing, believing that narcosis or whatever you want to call it, that psychosis, and it can bloom to learn better, okay, to heal better, to enjoy life and everything they're going to experience. Because the brain is not fully developed at age 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Need I go on? The brain is fully developed for most human beings when they are around 22 to 25. You can look it up, you can cross-check me, you can argue with me, but the average is basically 21 and above. You're always developing your brain, but for someone to make an actual informed decision about who they actually are, they have no idea below the age of arbitrarily 18. No idea whatsoever. And Virginia wants all that dysfunction here for everybody. They want to minimize family growth. They want to minimize population. All they want is a bunch of drones that keep on electing them. That is not the Republican Party. That is not my way of life. That shouldn't be your way of life either. There. That is an introduction to my video today, and I'm done with that part. I wanted to start writing with some extra free time I had more recently. And I love writing. And I did a wonderful poem last night, and I hope everybody can enjoy it. Because I wrote it from my heart, and yes, it is from a theme, I want to say, the Lilith Ardot. I want to say a demon that haunts men's dreams, that in general might be that mysterious lady we see in a dream. And she's so beautiful. And then it's like, I remember her. This must be an ongoing dream. Is she good or bad? Is she what my subconscious and my id and my deep soul, is she just my ideal lady? And why does she vex me? Why does she vex the man? Do women have the same dreams? You can chime in if you like. I believe they do in different ways, but they can discard it quicker for the sake of perhaps safety, survival, I want to say everyday living, so they are not attacked, okay, by real men. Perhaps. I don't know. But I know this theme I love because I do have an occasional recurring dream in general that might be with a lady, and I'm trying to see her face more. And it's not altogether sexual, and it's not altogether lovey-dovey, but it's kind of like an admiration from afar. It's kind of like respect, because she's someone I can't comprehend being so beautiful, so queenly. I wonder, and I often think about her because I don't know who she is, and I don't know if she's an actual, I want to say, entity of the same character, the same person, but it manifests in different ways in those dreams. Some might be warnings. Some might be a tryst, a romantic tryst. You feel all those hormones bubbling up and warming up, and before you know it, you're waking up. It might be something sisterly, something like a nun, something like Mother Teresa, but prettier. It could be good, bad, indifferent, evil, or angelic. And I have it often, so it's a common theme in a lot of my poetry. And I'm not just trying to do poems to make that one perfect one at the top. I love them all. I love practice. I love excelling in my art. I love expressing myself with specific words and the origins, the etymology, Old English or not, Germanic or not, Latin or not, Spanish or not. And when I find that niche, I think of nature and being that more, I want to say, worldly person inside the Garden of Eden, enjoying all the mystery in the woods, the beauty of flowers, the conniving nature of snakes, and knowing that that could be evil. There's something lurking in the forest. There's something lurking in the meadows right next to those forests. And there's a certain amount of beauty when I want to express that because I see it. I see it in a dream. I see it in imagination. And I think of that one lost love. There's a few lost loves in my life, to be honest. But I think of that long lost love motif and how we're affected. And we always wonder what happened to who? What if we were still together, still in love, like skin on flesh, like white on rice, they say. And I think of a heart broken often. And how do we express that? There's many different poets. And how do I know if I'm a good poet? If I can't supersede them? I can't do research about these themes in different words. And since posting the poem I'm about to read, I picked the title I did, Gloaming Entr'acte, Intima Anima, because I researched the inner feelings and the inner dreams with a reoccurring dream having to do with what's inside, what's internal, that is never going to go away. That same precept, that same lady figure is never going to go away. Is she an alter ego? No, I don't think so. Who is she? Is she a guardian angel? That might be closer to the truth. And I think about that. And I often wonder, why? Is she lost herself and she's trying to make contact with me? She makes contact with me often, almost every night. And when I wake up in the middle of a dream like that, I remember it more. If we wake up out of a dream, we tend to remember it. And so when we wake up sometimes and we didn't remember a dream that might have occurred 2, 3 hours before, we don't remember any dream whatsoever. And so I picked the title Researching, like I often do Latin, and especially I want to say French languages or Romantic languages, Spanish languages. And I wanted something specific. There's nothing that can describe what I just described. Something internal, and she keeps visiting me. You can say all you want, because I know about the Lilith, and I know about her because a lot of themes in my life, okay, especially in my writing, evolve and revolve around that precept, that concept of Lilith, that one imp or demon, female demon. She may be asexual, but she looks feminine. Then she turns evil. Her eyes turn bloody red. Her teeth start dripping fangs. And I'm like, but there's something there. It's not Lilith that haunts me. Is it Lilith? And I want to say a handful of other female demons in folklore, in Greek mythology in particular. And I want to say the romantic states of the European states, England, Ireland, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany. Who is she? How do I describe that feeling, waking up and feeling somewhat warm and touched inside? Almost like I'm happy that I'm wanted. And so I carefully researched for about 3 hours that feeling of something internal that is below the skin, something internal that is not going to change any day soon. I don't think I need therapy for it. I don't think any of us do for our dreams. They're there in a healthy mind when our minds relax and heal themselves from each day we experience anything on this earth. I know that, and I'm a practicing, I want to say, parapsychologist. And I don't mean researching ghosts. I mean an actual working psychologist to help individuals with mental illness, mental disabilities. And so I picked Gloaming for nighttime, Entr'acte for basically the intermission, the interval, the spaces in between things, like the spaces between waking or going to bed and waking, or from waking all the way to sleeping again. And those dreams, they start at a certain point, the same dream, the same character. She might look different at different times, but the face is usually close to the same. The feelings are close to the same. They're identical to love and missing something, missing her. And so I picked the word entr'acte instead of interval, instead of respite, instead of intermission, instead of, I don't know, anything else you want to call it, in between different acts of a play. If you're a thespian, you know these words the poet usually has in their heart already, because many poets will sit there and develop a play from the heart and make it theatrical, make it, I want to say, verbose, and from the heart, overfilling. Thing keeps on changing on me. And then I researched Latin, basically internal feelings, and Intima Anima is the closest thing I got, because it's basically emotions within. It's our emotions, our intellect, our feelings, our love, our hate, our despising, our grandeur. And so I was like, Intima anima, our emotions below the skin. And it was perfect. It was perfect. And I'll discuss more of this poem after I finish. It was a pleasure to write. It's one of my favorite poems I've ever wrote, even compared to Chasm. And man, so many others sometimes pop out. I'm proud of this, and I hope you enjoy. I hope a reader can read. By the way, I hope a reader of poetry that is more, I want to say, lingual than I am, and they have a smooth sound that makes it sound as I imagine it when I write it, can do any of my poems on their own, do it justice. And if they want to, making a name for themselves, send it here to my face page on Philip F. McNichol on Facebook, and I will share it everywhere. I will post it even to YouTube. I will download it, and I will keep on adding it to my repertoire until I have to cut it short one day, because I am contracted finally to do that book deal promoting the 3 novels I have on hand that deserve movie recognition. And I mean making them a series or making them movies and writing screenplays for them, because they are deserving, they are unique, and they're professionally done. They're professionally done by a non-professional, because the establishment says he's a non-professional. And I want that poetic reader to supplement them. I want to help them too. There's enough to go around, so to speak. That's what I said before, and I still mean this. Any band out there that needs lyrics, you can dissect any of my poetry and make it your song. You can detract from it. You can't change the words in it. Okay? Let me give you an example. You can remove a line. You can remove a few lines. Okay? But the rest has to be there, where you don't change a word. And the feeling of that poem has to be your feeling too. With your music, and you see the same thing, you just want to shorten it. I have no problem with having credit for that. It's shortened and not the original piece, and you can have it free of charge. You become a millionaire or platinum selling, 100 million albums sold, or DVD individual or CD individual, and you become famous. You can have it free. Just give me some name recognition. Say inspired by or written by, and I would appreciate it. I appreciate your music more than you think. Throughout my lifetime listening to beautiful music. No, I was not envious. I mean, in a good envy way, if you want to say that. But I always thought in the back of my mind, there's beautiful music. I want to write like that. I want to write better than that music sounds. I want sound to come to people's ears when they read something. And they are just in awe. And they say, hey, that P. Francis McNichol guy, you know that maybe in about 400 years people are going to be researching his stuff? Who is this guy? It's about the art. It's about, yes, the reader, the purveyor, the seer, the listener, of course. But it's about the art. And that's why I'm here. I want to say to entertain. And the establishment doesn't think of it that way. They think of money first, unfortunately. So in my hodgepodge today, before I become hoarse, don't let Bill Clinton. This is my reading of Gloaming Entr'acte, Intima Anima by P. Francis McNichol. Sugary petals wet a lip of yours, basking in a summer shawl. A meadow of wild moors, asking honeybees to crawl. Flying honeysuckle blooms, two hearts paired in love. As chuckles assume smiles, loving mourning does. Flowers on a faded dress, silken lace on a breast. As sultry hours pass, tranquil curtsies mixing nods of rest. From crystal glasses, chimes of swilling blissful sips, while cheese is split and tilled, with pâté on ripe crisps. Skies of pyres white, nooning shared in a velour shade, as sashayed flickers peck beyond the zephyr slade. A soft caress besets a bed of flowers groomed for two, when a robin sung bagatelles in the blue loom purlieus. As the milled grass sassafras mimed our verdant hill, laughter of the bumblebees blurred the robin's ardent trill. Hearts beat as one, holding breaths in henna seas, swaying as she drifts away in the blistering balmy breeze. Kisses blow by, fanning wisps of the ladybug on my nose, when hisses of dim twilight hid her translucence flows. Thick mist of a dawning tryst, cream dew a softened friend, hope in the midst of morn, pearl locks to unfurl again. Crickets slept as the skies wept a simmered peace, darkness fanning a dream her squall gales to increase. Craving her musk essence in the sunlit summer rays, thunder lit up skies of gray as wonder piqued a craze. Where is my love I grieve? Sopped rain without refrain, if not to stop her cameo siege in a tulip's drop of pain. Lightning cursed the land as an alluvion grew in mass, waking memories of her face, hovering in a chimera past. Downy portraits daub a window's panes, smirch of day, a duessa fast asleep under pores of miasma Cabernet. The end. That was Gloaming Entr'acte, Intima Anima. No, not Enema. So I wrote that, and I welcome any readers to do that on their video or publicly if they do it for fun, podium speeches, or I want to say poem reviews and recitals. I don't know, they're bigger in the bigger cities, but I don't know about locally in Virginia per se. I welcome anybody to do a recital. And if they even do it in a rap and make it sound really cool, I'd appreciate it. Hey, what can it hurt? You're speaking better, you're reading better, you're reciting something better and beautiful and making it even better with your flavor, your accent, your voice, your heart involved with it too. That's inspiring to me. Just saying. Along with those musical artists, those musicians out there. Let's bring back 4-man bands, please. No AI whatsoever. Ever. No AI. like I said before, I've been criticized. Oh, you can't have AI poems here. And I'm like, yeah, I can do the meter. I know how to. It's not hard. But why? I want something a little rough. I want something to have that T word, that T sound. Occasionally, you just stop it and let it go forward some. Slow down the cadence some with, I want to say, commas. So reviewing this real quick. Okay. I knew ardent was misspelled, and I shared that, and I was like, I knew there's an E there. Why did I? Why didn't I correct it? Why did I post it? It occurred to me after looking at it a million times. And this is why it's always important to review your work, because you might find some particularity out there in hyper cyberspace that will make it look better. And it's just not something from Oxford, okay, being snooty in their proper English uses. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. Okay, I'll give you a for instance because I reviewed it again today. Okay, it was my understanding that Cabernet was a proper name for wine. And I want to say in the dictionary, when they describe it online, okay, asking AI, they say it does not have to be capitalized after all. And I was reading more because I wanted to know more about it. I was like, I don't drink anymore, but there's plenty of beautiful wines out there people love to sip and enjoy. God bless them. I was like, Cabernet. You know, isn't that a name of some, gay theatrical piece somewhere or a movie, but it was theater at one time. And they described it. No, because Cabernet is not actually named after a proper place, a proper noun. It is named after a grape. I said to myself, hey, okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, now I get it. And so figuring out all those Bordeaux's and stuff when you're talking about social settings in your scenes, it's very important that you get that straight when you're professionally posting something. And I mean in general, when you're actually going to put it on paper and send with a manuscript to someone and they are going to actually edit also. Don't think you're the only one that's going to edit your work and give you some insights on how you flubbed up. Trust me, the great ones are corrected constantly. And don't let anybody else tell you differently. Okay? You see their finished product after 20 other people already worked on it and edited it. Okay? And made those corrections and typeset it properly and made it look more presentable on the book. Okay? The print on the book, that's what sells. I don't want this online writing and reading forever. I would like to have a little bit of both. Paperback, hardback, online. Why not? There are avenues, but to own a book, that says something about you. Because you can read that book and, a year later you might reread it and you find out something different and it's more enjoyable. Kind of like that author now. Because I own that book. I own a little piece of him or her. And I understand their heart a little more. Okay, what else? Researching, I want to say polishing, reviewing. I am at the stage where I would put this on paper, put it in my Blood Red Sea novel, or I want to say poetry ensemble and compilation, and ardent, I changed and correct. I went through many of the different words we don't use every day, but in the, I want to say writing field, authoring field, poetic verse field in general. They're common everyday words. I love the word henna as another colored visualization for gold, yellow, yellowish gold, kind of off yellow, and it's not necessarily gold either. Okay, I love henna. It's a simple word and it should be used more. Most of the words I research and I place in, okay, I do hope they sound better, okay, but sometimes it's for specificity and to show that more specific picture, okay. Then after everything else, it's to have a resurgence of those words, to bring those words back into more common use so that there's more word bullets in our repertoire we can use towards our poetry and our art. We only have the digits. Painters have many different colors to choose from, okay? Styles of painting too, don't get me wrong. And I have nothing against painters. My sister is a beloved painter out of Philadelphia Art Institute, world renowned. And she might not be world renowned, but her work should be. It's different avenues to sell her work. I don't know what she's doing with some of her work since 20 years ago. She's a clown fanatic, and when I tell you she has every clown statue, porcelain statue, stuffed animal, bobblehead, I want to say pens, anything, blankets, okay, dressers painted with clowns, walls painted with clowns. She has one room devoted to clowns. Every clown you could ever see in the frickin' Hollywood media, in the historical lexicon of literature. She has every clown lined up in a room. And it's so beautiful. When you look at it, it's like, wow. Yeah, she's the real deal as an artist. As poets, as writers, as authors, as entertainers. We need those bullets in our gun when we do a poem, when we do a screenplay, when we do, I want to say, the best novel in the world, the most famous novel in the world. And that's just part of growing as an author in general. So, talking about growing more, I have made these corrections, and I've made them on Facebook in particular. I'm not going to make them with every post I've posted to groups, but if someone chimes in on it verbally, this is what I do. If someone posts verbally on there, I will look at it and then I'll make the correction I know needs to be done right there, and I won't say anything else about it other than thank you, because I really appreciate that, and I hope it struck a chord in everybody's heart. And I really like people to chime in. I welcome negative criticism as long as you are not attacking me or saying something very harsh to, like, run me off. I'm not going anywhere. Those MySpace days are over and done with, and I'm going to say politely, fuck you. Okay? But I welcome criticisms. I really do. Trust me. So let me make, let me go to where the last correction, besides Cabernet being smaller case, and ardent, I don't know why ARDANT stuck in my mind, but this is what I do. When I write, I'm telling you, I can write for a living if given the chance to get my foot in the door with a reputable publisher that knows what they're looking at. Okay? Verdant and ardent. Ardent, I changed the E. And where is that next one? This is what kind of slipped up on me. When you're an author, you'll get these zingers occasionally. You wouldn't think of it until, okay, let's just go for it. There it is. I just looked for the nose rhyme because I knew it was nose that rhymed. Kisses blow by, fanning a wisp of a ladybug on my nose. Ladybug is one word. Okay? Now, so ingrained in our minds all our lives, we're used to seeing some words a certain way. Not only do we think of it as two words when it's not, it's one word. And we write it as we've seen it before, and it's always right in our mind. Even if we read something that's written correctly, ladybug as one word, if we were to copy that same text, okay, by hand, we would write it down as two words. And so my research and development, when I'm sitting there researching etymology and origins, is nonstop. I review my work constantly, and I see to myself, how is it possible I can improve my art? Because I want to be the best poet around. I want to be the best screenwriter around. I want to be the best author in North America and have 200,000 books sold, okay, which is what, 20 times bestseller, okay? I believe it's possible. I believe it's possible. And what have you, how many millions of, or I want to say Harry Potter is up there, man, maybe way past that, okay? And it doesn't happen to every author, trust me. It ain't going to happen, most likely to me. But if they read something like Trill of the Red Robin, they would say that's a mainstay of America for probably the next 200, 300 years, like The Grapes of Wrath, you know? So many older movies that stand the test of time, like, I want to say The Wizard of Oz. You know, The Wizard of Oz was written way before the movie came out, and it really didn't have a following until the production company said, let's do something different with this old, I want to say, novel, and do it something theatrical and musical and brilliant. And it was really brilliant. Okay? The movie made the novel, if that makes sense. However, I want a novel to last forever, like The Grapes of Wrath, a separate piece, for example. The Great Gatsby, for example. Things like that, of Mice and Men, for example. And then 300 years from now, people would say, this author, what else did they do? And then you see their poetic works, like a Poe. And all his shorter game is to die for. And yeah, you can say he was verbose. Well, he was verbose for a reason. One, there was less styles, okay, involved the turn of the 19th century, so the 1800s, when he was born. 1809, I believe, and he died 40 years old, 1849. Throughout that time period, there was less styles of writing. There was newspaper article writing and book writing, and that was it. So he knew he had a wide range of, I want to say, leeway in his lengthy poems, his lengthy, I want to say, paragraph, if not stanzas. And he was brilliant because he had words to back it up. So, anyways, this is Phil, to my friends, and P. Francis McNichol, finishing up the reading of Gloaming Entr'acte, Intima Anima. And I hope you enjoyed it. Please look for it on Facebook, and I'm going to see if I can't download this video directly to YouTube on my new phone and see how it goes, and hopefully people will enjoy it there too. Get out there and write. Open up a dictionary. Start reading a dictionary for so much inspiration. And then before you know it, you're writing your art straight from your heart. And it's a wonderful thing. God bless you guys. Have a great day.